Anyway, joining us now on the John Fredericks Radio Network. Big day today for the Trump administration. Joining us now is J. Ron Smith, Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of the Office of American Innovation. Both J. Ron and Vice President Mike Pence are visiting Hampton University today. Hampton University, as you know, a member of Virginia's HBCU, that's the Historic Black College and Universities. As you know, the president has achieved record and permanent funding for our nation's historically black colleges and universities to expand equal opportunity. My producer, as you know, Kara Johnson, a graduate of an HBCU college, Norfolk State in Norfolk. And J. Ron Smith is with us now on their way down to Hampton. J. Ron, good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me, John. How are you?
Look, I'm really excited about what you guys have done. I've always been a fan. Every producer I've had since I started has, just by happenstance, and I've had 5 of them, 4 of them, have come out of an HBCU college. And Hampton University, as you know, one of the oldest members of that. What drives you and the Vice President's visit today to Hampton University, J. Ron?
Sure. It's President's continued leadership working with these institutions and helping to grow their ability to be competitive for the 21st century. We will be there looking at their Proton Therapy Institute and also hosting a roundtable to figuring out how we can better partner together in the future to create an ecosystem to cultivate talent for the 21st century economy.
All right, so we applaud the funding that you were able to secure for the HBCU colleges, and we're excited about your visit to Hampton today with the Vice President. And are there plans to go to other HBCU colleges around either Virginia, around the country, like Norfolk State or Virginia University? Do you have any other plan? Spelman in Northern Virginia. Do you have any other plans?
Well, that's quite possible. I think we're always open to working with these institutions. Our executive director, Jonathan Hollyfield, is actually in Louisiana this week visiting some of the Louisiana HBCUs, and so we're spending time at Hampton today. A couple weeks ago, I've spent time at Florida Memorial, and we've been spending some time in the AUC with the Atlanta schools as well in North Carolina with some of their universities. Recently at the Opportunity Now Summit, we had a joint convening with the South Carolina HBCUs and the North Carolina HBCUs. All of it focused on their comparative advantage. As you know, every region is different, and every school has different gifts and tools. You know, I'm really excited to see and learn about Hampton's work on proton therapy and their work with the VA. And that's what we're trying to do. Scale with these schools' comparative advantage are, invest in their infrastructure in a way that they can cultivate pipelines to college and pipelines from college. But in many ways, like Hampton University, they're serving a critical role with helping our veterans. And so I look forward to learning more about that and get an opportunity to figure out what's the best strategy to do more of that in the future.
How many total HBCU colleges are there, J. Ron, in America?
About 107.
I don't think anybody realized there were that many. What is What are some of the oldest?
Some of the oldest are like Hampton University, Tuskegee, Howard University, Lincoln University. There's a number of things that started literally right after the Civil War. I went to Howard University and got 2 degrees from there, and all types of love between Howard and Hampton as rival colleges.
Right, now Howard's in Washington, D.C., right?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So, and I said earlier I was mistaken. I said Spelman in Northern Virginia. Of course, Spelman's
in
College
Atlanta.
in Atlanta, and Howard
Yep.
draws from Northern Virginia, obviously because they're in Washington, D.C. What is, other than giving money, which the Trump administration has secured, what's the goal? What's the objective with your relationship with HBCUs? What's the ultimate goal here?
Well, it's about being competitiveness. We want to make sure that it's not just public sector funding, but we have to look at private sector funding that can make sure that these institutions are sustainable well into the 21st century, with the goal of cultivating the talent. Many of these institutions have individuals like myself who are first-time college goers, and we want to make sure that these individuals are competitive for the 21st century. You know, the most precious asset in our country is human capital, and if we don't ensure that all of the people throughout our country are competitive, we're going to be at a comparative disadvantage on the world stage. And so under President Trump's leadership, our goal is to been able to partner with these institutions in order to leverage them as epic centers for opportunity throughout our country. And so that's our goal. It's going to take partnerships on a local level, on a state level, as well as the federal level, having a joint strategy with the private sector to create the right infrastructure of opportunity on these HBCUs and leverage the human capital that they have. And so that's one of our biggest goals. And over the next couple months, we'll spend time at these individual institutions figuring out what's the best way to get there.
Interesting. We're with J-Ron Smith. I love J-Ron, what you're doing. J-Ron is the Deputy Assistant to the President and Deputy Director of the Office of American Innovation. J-Ron Smith and the Vice President Pence are visiting Hampton University today. As you know, Hampton, a Virginia-based historic black college and university. The other ones in Virginia, Carrie can help me out, since I'm going by memory here. Virginia University in Petersburg, Norfolk State in Norfolk, and of course Hampton that you'll be at. Carrie, have I missed any? If I have, let me know. Just text me there. But I love what your vision is, because beyond just anybody can throw money at something. I mean, Democrats have done that, quite frankly, forever. It's not been effective in education. But I think what you guys are doing is give the funding, but then focus on building the infrastructure, right, within each of the universities, so that they can leverage the best academia they can in order to get the desired result and turn them into education epicenters that can spawn graduates who can compete in the 21st century economy. Have I kind of gotten that right?
That's exactly right, and there's a couple different things to think about. You have to think about making them competitive to get investment on R&D. You know, as we're talking about a 21st century economy, we're talking about what 21st century jobs look like, and that's technology, that's quantum physics, that's AI. We want to make sure that the nation's priorities are also in kind of enshrined into some of these institutions' priorities, so that they can be a part of the 21st century economy. Or if you're talking about how some of these institutions with their research spin out, small business or incubate the next small business idea. We have to kind of rethink the way that some of these institutions can play a role, and having the right infrastructure, right teachers, and the right students getting access to these opportunities is going to be critical for our nation to continue to be competitive.
Now, when you travel around with the vice presidents of these colleges, J-Ron Smith, do you draw any criticism, protesters that don't like Trump and the black community? Do you have to deal with any of that?
We haven't, mostly because of the work that we've done. From day one, the president has showed priority treatment towards HBCUs by moving the HBCU initiative into the White House, having Jonathan Holyfield sit on the Domestic Policy Council, advising the president and being intertwined into the policy priorities of this administration. We've done things like forgive the Katrina loans from 2005 and also finance and reorganize the CAP finance program, which was critically hurting maybe about 13 different institutions. And we also brought back things like year-round Pell that gave many students the ability to go to school year-round. Some can't take the time off in the summer because it's critical that they stay hard at it in college. I mean, these things right at the beginning built good faith. And then when the president was able to help, under his leadership, help negotiate permanent funding for the next 10 years, or showed up at the HBCU summit, first president to ever do that, that's all showed real commitment. And every one of those convenings, we were well attended, and we was well accepted because of the work we've done. So it hasn't just been talk, it's been action. It's been creating opportunity now, and as a result of it, we're not stopping there. We're going to continue to build with these institutions and figure out how we can best make sure these institutions continue to be competitive.
Wow. I love what you guys are doing. The vice president traveling to Hampton with you today, what's his role?
Well, the vice president is showing leadership in the same way that the presidents showed leadership. He's had the ability to meet with Dr. Harvey, and he put together this convening at Hampton because he knew it was a priority of the president. And so with the president's, vice president's leadership on Space Force and other innovative technologies, he can be a unique voice in allowing for these institutions to be competitive and being a conduit for the administration to make sure that these institutions are connected to 21st century opportunities.
Now, did he have any involvement with any HBCU colleges when he was governor of Indiana, to your knowledge?
So I don't believe Indiana has historically black colleges there. However, since I've worked with him, even in my position when he was congressman, there's always been a commitment from the vice president to deal with the forgotten communities. And the HBCU communities are one of those communities that were forgotten. I think over the last 30 years, having this strategy has been neglected a little bit, and so it's been great having the leadership of the president and the vice president to help make sure they're sustainable, but now making sure that they're prosperous for the 21st century.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate the work you guys are doing. I can talk from personal experience, J. Ron Smith. My last three producers for my radio network, by happenstance, have come from HBCU colleges. Kiara, who graduated from Norfolk State, my current producer who you talked to when you called in, her predecessor, Michael, went to Virginia State University there in Petersburg. And then before that, my producer, Courtney, graduated from one of the colleges in Florida. So Florida, I always forget the call letters is for them. And Kara's going to help me with that in a minute. But I've had three tremendous experiences with those that have come out of HBCU colleges. Very intelligent, very well-rounded, very, very mature. I'm sorry, it was FAMU. Thank you, Kara. FAMU. That's it. So
awesome.
Good luck, man, and thanks for doing what you guys are doing, and have a wonderful time there in Hampton University. And by the way, if you've never been to Hampton, folks, it's actually a beautiful college.
Beautiful campus.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's got a gorgeous campus.
Amen.
So, now, Kara, Norfolk State, not so much, right? You go by there on the interstate, right? A little bit different, but Hampton has a gorgeous campus. I'm not ragging on Norfolk State University. Okay, it's we cover them in football and basketball here, but and they host the MAC conference. That's always a neat thing. Hey, J. Ron Smith, thank you for being with us. And
okay, thank you for having me, John.
Wait, Kira says we have a new campus. Okay, Norfolk State's got a
Amen.
new campus. J. Ron Smith, thanks for being with us.
You have a good one. Thank you so much.
Radio Network.